Well, Pip, I must call you Mr. Pip today. Congratulations, Mr. Pip. Take a chair, Mr. Pip.
Thank you.
Now, my friend, I'm going to have a word or two with you.
If you please, sir.
What do you suppose you are living at the rate of?
At the rate of?
At the rate of.
I have to confess I am quite unable to answer the question.
I thought so. Now I have asked you a question, my friend. Have you anything to ask me?
Of course it would be a great relief for me to ask questions, but I remember your great prohibition.
Ask one.
Will this benefactor be revealed to me today?
No. Ask another.
Will this confidence soon be imparted to me?
Wait that a moment and ask another.
Am I to receive anything soon?
I thought we should come to it. Wemmick. Now, Mr. Pip, attend if you please. Your name, you have been drawing pretty freely here. Your name occurs pretty often in Wemmick's cash book. But you are in debt, of course.
I am afraid so, sir.
You know you must say yes, don't you?
Yes, sir.
I don't ask you what you owe, because you don't know. And if you did know, you wouldn't tell me, you would say less. Yes, it is often likely enough that you think you wouldn't, but you would. Believe me, but I know better. You'll have to excuse me, but I know better than you. Now, do you see this piece of paper? Take it. You have got it?
Yes.
Very good. Now unfold it, and tell me what it is.
This is a banknote for £500.
That is a banknote for £500. And a very handsome sum of money too, I should think. You consider it so?
How could I do otherwise?
Ah, but answer the question.
Undoubtedly.
You consider it, undoubtedly, a handsome sum of money. That handsome sum of money, Pip, is your own. It is a present to you, on this day, in earnest of your expectations. And at the rate of this handsome sum of money, you are to live until the donor of the whole appears.
I am very grateful for the liberality which I am treated by.
I am not paid, Pip, to carry your words to anyone.
There was a question just now that you desired me to waive off. Will there be anything wrong in asking it again?
What is it?
Well, my patron, the fountainhead we have spoken of, is it likely that he will soon...
Will soon what? That's no question as it stands, you know.
That he will soon come to London or summon me anywhere else.
Now here, Pip, we must revert to the evening when we first encountered one another in your village. What did I tell you then?
You told me, Mr. Jaggers, that it might be many years hence before that person revealed himself.
Just so. That's my answer.
You suppose it will still be many years hence?
Come, I'll be plain with you. That is a question I must not be asked. You'll understand better when I tell you that it is a question that might compromise me. Come, I'll go even further with you. I'll tell you something more. When that person discloses, you and that person will settle your own affairs. When that person discloses, my part in this business will cease and determine. When that person discloses, it will not be necessary for me to know anything about it. And that is all I have got to say.
If that is all you have got to say, then there has nothing... Mr. Wemmick, I want to ask your opinion. I am very desirous to serve a friend. This friend is trying to get on in commercial life, but has no money, and finds it difficult and disheartening to make a beginning. Now I want to somehow help him to a beginning.
With money down?
With some money down. With some money down and perhaps some anticipation of my expectations.
Mr. Pip, let me run over you on my fingers, if you please, the names of the various bridges Epatise Chelsea Reach. Let's see, there's London, 1, Southwark, 2, Blackfriars, 3, Waterloo, 4, Westminster, 5, and Vauxhall, 6. There's many as 6 bridges to choose from.
I don't understand you.
Choose your bridge, Mr. Pip, and take a walk upon your bridge, and pitch your money into the Thames from the centre arch of your bridge, and you know the end of it. serve a friend with the money, and you may also know the end of it, but it's not as profitable or as pleasant.
This is very discouraging.
Meant to be so.
Then it is your opinion that a man should never...
Invest portable property in a friend? Certainly he should not, unless he wishes to get rid of this friend, and then it becomes a case of how much portable property is it worth to get rid of it.
That is your deliberate opinion, Mr. Wemmick?
That is my deliberate opinion in this office.
But that would be your opinion at Walworth?
Mr. Pitt, Walworth is one place and this office is another, much as the aged is one person and Mr. Jaggers is another. The two should never be confounded. My official sentiments will only be expressed in this office, and none but my Walworth sentiments can be expressed at Walworth.
Very well. Then I shall look you up at Walworth. You may depend upon it.
You will be welcome there in a private and personal capacity.
Wemmick, I met Herbert when I was just so little, and I remember the first thing we did was fight. Since now he is my friend and my companion, I would like my own good fortune to reflect some rays upon him. Since you have some knowledge and some experience with men and affairs, I am coming here for some advice. How could I best try to help my friend Herbert to some present income, or to buy him to some small partnership? Wemmick, I need you to understand that my help to Herbert must be rendered without Herbert's knowledge or suspicion. You are the only person in this world with whom I can advise. I can't help confiding in you that this might be troublesome to you, but this was your fault since you have brought me here.
Well, Mr. Pip, I must tell you, this is devilish good of you.
So you'll help me to be good then?
Accord, that's not my trade.
No, this is your trading place.
You're right. You hit the nail on the head. Mr. Pitt, let me put on my considering cap and tell you that all you want to do may be done by degrees. Skiffins, her brother, is an accountant and agent. I'll look him up and go to work for you.
I thank you 10,000 times, Wemmick.
On the contrary, I must thank you for, though we are strictly in a private and personal capacity, it still may be mentioned that there are new gate cobwebs about and this brushes them away. Now, wait, parent, tip us the paper. It's according to custom. I won't offer an apology, because he is incapable of many pleasures. Are you, aged man?
All right, John, all right.
Tip him a nod every now and then when he looks away from his paper, and he'll be happy as a king.
All right, John, all right. Clearbrook Jewelers was broken into last night. Large sums of money were taken, and the men reportedly fled London to the countryside. As we are going in the same direction, Pip, we may walk together. Where are you bound for?
For the temple, I think.
Don't you know?
Well, I do not know, for I have not made up my mind.
You are going to dine? You don't mind admitting that, I suppose.
I don't mind admitting that.
And are not engaged?
I don't mind also admitting that I am not engaged.
Come and dine with me. Wemmick's coming.
I would be happy to.
After you, sir. Send that note of Miss Havisham's to Mr. Pip, Wemmick.
No, sir, it was going by post when you brought Mr. Pip into the office. Here it is.
It's a note of 2 lines, Pip. Sent up to me by Miss Havisham on account of her not being sure of your address. It says that she would like to see you on a little matter of business that you mentioned to her. You would go down, of course.
Yes.
When do you think of going down?
Well, I have an impending engagement that renders me rather uncertain of my time. At once, I think.
Mr. Pip has the intention of going at once. He needed to write an answer. You know.
I will go tomorrow.
Very well. So, Pip, our friend the spider. He has played his cards and has won the pool. Ha! He is a promising fellow, that one. The stronger will win in the end, but the stronger needs to be found out first. If he should turn to and beat her,
Surely you do not seriously think that he is scoundrel enough for that.
I did not say that, Pip. I am putting a case. If he should turn to and beat her, he certainly will have the strength on his side. But if it should be a question of intellect, he certainly will not. It would be chance work to give a guess on how a fellow of that sort would turn out under such circumstances, because it's a toss-up between two results.
May I ask what they are?
A fellow like our friend the spider either beats or cringes. He may cringe and growl, or cringe and not growl, but he either beats or cringes. Ask Wemmick his opinion.
Either beats or cringes.
So here's to Mrs. Bentley Drummle, and may the question of supremacy be settled to the lady's satisfaction. To the satisfaction of the lady and the gentleman, it never will be. What's the matter?
Nothing, only the subject we were speaking of was rather painful to me.
Here's the money I got from Miss Havisham to help Herbert.
I'm sorry, Pip, that we can do nothing for you.
Miss Havisham was good enough to ask me if she could do anything in return. I told her no.
Everybody should know his own business best. I should not have said no if I were you. But you ought to know your own business best.
I did ask something, however, of Miss Havisham. I asked her to give me all the information she possessed on her adopted child, and she did.
Did she? I should not have done so if I were Miss Havisham. But again, she ought to know her own business best.
I know more of Miss Havisham's adopted child than Miss Havisham herself does. I know her mother.
Mother?
I have seen her recently within these 3 days.
Yes?
And you have too. You have still seen her recently.
Yes?
I perhaps know even more than you do. I know her father.
So, Pip, you know the young lady's father.
His name is Provis from New South Wales.
And on what evidence, Pip, does Provis make this claim?
He does not make it. He has no knowledge or belief that his daughter is still in existence.
What item was it you were at, Mr. Wemmick, when Pip came in?
Please be more frank and manly with me. I've lapsed many false hopes, just like the one of marrying Estella. I've made the discovery that she is my benefactor's daughter, and now I feel as if many dangers weigh upon my spirits. I'm surely worthy of some little confidence. I do not blame, suspect, or mistrust you, but I want assurance of the truth from you. Wemmick, I know you to be a man with a gentle heart. I've seen your pleasant home, your old father, and all the innocent, cheerful, playful ways with which you refresh your business life. And I entreat you to say a word for me to Mr. Jaggers, and to represent to him that all circumstances considered, he ought to be more open with me.
What is this? You with an old father, and you with pleasant and cheerful ways?
Well, if I don't bring him here, what does it matter?
Pip, this man must be the most cunning impostor in all London.
Not a bit of it. I think you're another.
You with a pleasant home?
Since I don't interfere with business, let it be so. Now I look at you, sir, and I shouldn't wonder if you might be planning and contriving to have a pleasant home of your own one of these days when you're tired of all this work.
Pip, about those poor dreams. We will not discuss them, you having much fresher experience of that kind than I do. But about this other matter, I'll put a case to you. Mind, I admit nothing.
I understand you admit nothing.
Now, Pip, put this case. Put the case that a woman, under such circumstances as you have now mentioned, held her child concealed, and was obligated to communicate the fact to her legal adviser, on his representing to her that he must, with an eye to the latitude of his defense, know how the facts stood about that child. Put the case that at the same time he held a trust to find a child for an eccentric rich lady to adopt and bring up.
I follow you, sir.
Put the case that he lived in an atmosphere of evil, and that all he saw of children was their being generated in great numbers for certain destruction. Put the case that he often saw children tried solemnly at a criminal bar, that he habitually knew of their being transported, neglected, whipped, imprisoned, cast out, qualified in all ways for the hangman, and destined to be hanged. Put the case that nigh all the children he saw in his daily business life, he had reason to look upon as so much scum, to develop into the fish that would come to his net, to be prosecuted, defended, forsworn, bedeviled somehow.
I follow you, sir.
Put the case that here was one little child out of the heap who could be saved, whom the father thought dead, and dead make no stir about, whom the mother, the legal adviser, held this power over. I know what you did and how you did it. You did such and such things to divert suspicion. Give me the child, and I will do my best to clear you. If you are lost, the child is still saved. If you are saved, the child is saved too. Put the case that this was done, and that the woman was cleared.
I understand you perfectly.
But that I make no admissions?
I understand that you make no admission.
Put the case that passion and the terror of death had a little shake in the woman's intellects, so that when she was set at liberty, she was scared out of the ways of the world, and went to him to be sheltered. Put the case that he took her in, and that he kept down the old, wild, violent nature whenever he saw an inkling of its breaking out, by asserting his power over her in the old way. Do you comprehend the imaginary case?
Quite.
Put the case that the child grew up and was married for money, that the father was still living, that the mother was still living, that the father and the mother, unknown to one another, were dwelling within so many miles, furlongs, yards of one another, if you like. Put the case that the secret was still a secret, except that you had got wind of it. Put that last case to yourself very carefully.
I do.
For whose sake would you reveal the secret? For the father's, I think he would not be much the better for the mother. For the mother's, I think if she had done such a thing, she would be safer where she was. For the daughter's, I think it would hardly serve her to establish her parentage. For the information of her husband, and to drag her back down to disgrace after an escape of nearly 20 years, and pretty secure to last for life. But had the case that you had loved her, Pip, and had made her the subject of those poor dreams, which at one time or another have entered the heads of more men than you think likely, then you should, and would have much sooner when you had thought well of it, chopped off that left hand of yours with your right hand, and then pass the chop off to me so I could cut your right hand too. Now, Wemmick, what item was it you were at when Mr. Pip came?